Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Spring Fever. As always, it's me, XFL Jim, joined by the one, the only. It is Uncle Rico. What is up, Erik?
What is up, my friend? How you doing?
Doing good. I'm doing as good as we can be. This is a very tumultuous time for us spring football fans, especially us hardcore ones. The merger brings news almost every week, and it feels like I'm torn. I'm torn. So obviously we're talking XFL, USFL, UFL like merger situation right now. But before we get into any of that, Spring Fever is brought to you, as always, by Royal Retros. And when you go to Royal Retros to get the best premium kind of like good old merch from teams maybe you forget about, but they pop into your head and you're just like, oh damn, I remember that team. Go to Royal Retros, get that stuff, and then all of a sudden you use promo code Spring Fever, all one word, for 10% off at checkout. It's a win-win.
If you're not with our friends at Royal Retros, you're missing out. Great gear, and obviously with the sad news we got about some teams going to the win for a little bit, it'd be a good time to get some merchandise.
Might be a good time. So, Erik, yes, we did get some more information dropped about the merger of the XFL and USFL. Basically, so the only confirmation stuff we have that is actually confirmed is the USFL side of it. The XFL is still slightly speculation, but if we're being honest, it's probably pretty damn near confirmed. So we have the confirmation of teams staying. From the USFL side, the Michigan Panthers are staying, the Houston Gamblers are staying, the Birmingham Stallions are staying, and the Memphis Showboats are staying. That means no more Breakers, no more Maulers, no more Stars, and no more Generals.
Well, aren't they on pause, my friend?
On pause. So I'm going to choose to believe that they're on pause. I think they told us that these other teams are on pause. Obviously they're not just going to scrap them because they still have all the rights to them and they still have these brands. And if I'm, we're going to say on pause. And to be fair, if any team has a better shot of recovery from being on pause, I would assume it's the USFL teams because a lot of these teams weren't in markets. All the teams that got scrapped weren't playing in their home markets.
So if you had to pick a team, you're a gambler, Jimbo.
If I had to bet a team, or you want me to like pick a team that I want?
No. What team, because they probably do two teams at a time, what two teams do you think will be the first two to come back?
I would say they're going to try. Oh, God. I'm going to say they try and get Seattle back.
And
I think they would go either New Orleans or Jersey. That would be my assumption because
you don't think they do? Do you think they go 1-1?
They could. I think they could. I mean, they could do it.
Two XFL teams.
They could do it either way. They could go like Seattle and Orlando, or the only issue with that is one of the XFL teams is a Houston team.
Yeah.
So what do you do with the Roughnecks in this situation?
I think the Roughnecks are kind of screwed out because the Houston Gamblers are there. Was interesting. Someone did post though that the Gamblers don't get as much social media buzz as the Roughnecks do. The Roughnecks are a little bit more live in the social media game.
So yeah, let's also talk at the XFL team. So the XFL stays, like the team staying for the XFL side. The Renegades, the Battlehawks, the Defenders, the Brahmas, teams out of the XFL right now. The Seattle Sea Dragons, the Vipers for wherever the hell they would be, the Orlando Guardians, and the Houston Roughnecks. Yeah, it did seem to me, from all intents and purposes, that the Roughnecks were like the bigger brand in Houston.
Yeah.
So interesting move to kind of like go with the Gamblers. I'm okay with it because I like the Gamblers' whole logo and vibe. That's just an interesting move. There's been a lot of things we've seen throughout this merger that we would classify as quote-unquote interesting.
Like, what would be the most interesting thing?
I'm saying interesting as in, like, I don't know why they're making this move. A lot of it is just the lack of communication.
I think the communication is freaking.
It's been awful. It's been really bad,
to say the least.
They're not going to Las Vegas again anytime soon.
Give up the dream, my friend. Give up the dream.
If you're a USFL fan, this is kind of sad because two of the last two like championship like runner-ups are gone now.
Yep.
The Stars and Maulers are both gone.
My baby Maulers.
Almost the entirety of the northern division of the USFL is gone. Only the Panthers remain.
Which is dog shit. Which is awful. I mean, look, we all know with what was going on, cuts had to be made. It just sucks that the cuts that are made were because these teams and like people don't know what they're going to be doing, and the players protected. I just hate this whole process.
And I said it from the jump. I've said it and I'll keep saying it. As soon as this was announced Erik, this was announced back in July.
Yeah.
Back in damn July. I've said it since then and I'll keep saying it. I hate that it's 8 teams.
Yeah.
We're going from 16 teams to 8. That is bullshit.
All right, so let's do some math, okay?
Okay, get some quick maths out there.
How many players were on the USFL team?
I'll look up USFL roster says. I think it was a little bit smaller. Okay, let's see. This was last year. Looks like 50.
All right. And how many were on the other league? The XFL.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you fucking call it the other league again, I'm gonna end this right now. I will end you. Oh, so 58. Okay, so yeah, they start with 58, cut down to 50. That was the USFL.
Okay, and how many are in the XFL? Same thing?
Looking it up right now. Looking it up. Come on, ESPN. Let's see if Wikipedia can help me. 70.
So 88 times 70. So we're talking between the two leagues, there was 960 players.
So now, let's just say all 8 have 70 now.
Well, no. Like, what was... Because what'd you say? There's going to be 42 protected.
That's just, yeah. So for the USFL, there's 42 protected plus an extra 20 protected. And then they're doing a draft, a dispersal draft. So we'll go through this real quick. So according to some things that were leaked for the USFL side, I don't know if this also qualifies for the XFL because they had more players. Each teams get 42 protected players. They can claim up to 20 protected players from the defunct USFL team. So the Breakers, Maulers, Stars, Generals players, they can claim them. Then they're going to come up with like a system so that if teams are trying to go after the same player, there's going to be like a little hierarchy, I imagine. And then there's a dispersals draft for players that are, I believe, if they're in contract with the league, but not on a team or some situation. The dispersal draft, I believe, is in early January.
So I projected 65 on a team.
So let's just. I think that's a good number to do.
So that means about 440 players are going to be out of a jet.
You could probably round up to 70 and just keep the XFL numbers, but still around like 450 players.
So 440 players are going to be out of work.
Yeah, and that sucks.
But I mean, Herb in the chat brings up a good point, though, that I hate to use the term trimming fat, but these teams, if you drop 440, should be a little bit better. The quality of football should be better.
In some regards, so if you're trying to put, like, if we're putting a positive spin on this, I do believe not just in this league, I'm still trying to, UFL, I'm still going to be, it's going to be tough. But I think not only will the quality of play in the UFL be a little bit better with the quote unquote trimming of the fat, I think a lot of these players will go to like the indoor football league, will go to the AFL, will go to these other leagues, and I think the quality of play there will also go up.
I think the biggest winner is going to be.
I think the IFL. I think the IFL is a major winner.
You think the IFL is?
I think a lot of these players go down to arena, like the arena leagues.
See, I was thinking they go to Europe.
See, I think Europe could also be a big winner, but the issue is like the travel to Europe is crazy. And if I'm a player, I don't know if I go to Europe right now.
Really? Why not?
They just had 2 teams basically fold this last year.
Is it harder, in your opinion, to make the CFL or
The
we'll
arena?
call it the UFL? We'll call it the UFL. Which is
Which
going to
one?
be which one do you think would be a harder roster to make?
CFL probably.
Okay. If I'm 25 and I still have hopes of making the league, what's my best path? If I'm one of the 440 that don't make the cut.
Oh, that doesn't make the cut? Like your options are what? CFL, IFL?
I can go to the CFL, try to be on the practice squad, try to make it there. I can go to the IFL, probably be starting and make a run at something, or I can go overseas to Europe.
You could go to that. You could go to Japan. You could do that. If your goal, I still think if your end goal is to make the NFL, you're probably better off doing the IFL thing for a season, because we've seen that the XFL at the very least drew a lot of talent from those arena leagues. You're better off probably doing the IFL or the AFL and seeing if you can either get eyes on you from the UFL like after that. Because from what I'm feeling, and this is just a feeling and some rumor stuff based on what the NFL was trying to do with the XFL, I think if there's one spring league, I think you have a very high chance the NFL does some partnership thing with it.
Which would be good. Now, do you think the partnership thing will be like, I don't know if like 8 teams, can you like filter in like a team, the Houston Gamblers, that team is affiliated with the NFC North.
How many divisions are there in the NFL?
4 and 4, right?
Is it 4 and 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the north, south, east, west. Is there a way like we could go like, okay, the Michigan Panthers, your team is affiliated with the NFC North. Gamblers, you're officially AFC South. Like, do you think that's something that happens where they have like a feeder like that?
That's definitely a possibility. And the only thing I could see issue-wise with, I mean, maybe if you like filter out practice squad guys too. Like you just basically increase the size of your practice squad.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know how they would do that. I don't know.
I don't either. I don't know like what the partnership situation would be with the NFL besides like maybe the only thing I can think of is a league-wide thing where they tried different rules and things that the NFL is looking to do. Mm-hmm. And they experiment with them in the spring league before that.
Yeah.
Herb coming in the chat. I think the reason they are starting with 8 is so they can cut costs while seeing if this league will work. Yeah, that's what the USFL was doing. My only like gripe against that is you're combining the power of both the leagues who had 8 apiece. Yeah, they weren't making money, but 8 just sounds, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I felt 12 would have been good. 10 I would have tolerated. 8 was like whatever.
8 just feels half-assed to me.
Yeah, it feels half-assed.
Yeah.
12 would have been great. It does feel very half-assed. It also, Eric, it looks like they're going to use the XFL's hub model of everyone being in Arlington and then flying out for all the games.
Okay. But
It looks like that's what they're going to roll with.
I like that. I like that idea.
I'm cool with it. I mean, if you're going to do that kind of hub model, it makes sense to put everyone in Arlington again. And this, like, the infrastructure and everything's already there.
Yeah.
So I get it. I understand. I am excited to see. We're also still seeing like plenty of free agent signings and letters of intent and things like that. Also, we're still looking, I believe, for a Memphis Showboats head coach.
Oh, really?
I think they're still looking for a head coach. Some people were saying you might see one of the USFL coaches whose team is getting left behind. You might see him on the Showboats.
Really?
Who would you want to see
As the coach?
Yeah.
Wade Phillips.
Oh, it's true. Wade. Yeah. His team's getting defunct.
Give me Wade.
You want Wade?
Give me Wade.
I don't think it'll be Wade.
Or Butch Jones.
That would be awesome. You don't think he's staying at Arkansas State?
No, he'll stay at Arkansas State. But here's an interesting thing I want to throw out to you. What's Skip Holtz doing?
I believe he's coming back.
Okay. Do you think he kind of dipped his waters in college football this year, being the special assistant to Northwestern to try to get back because he knew this was coming?
Could have been that. Because when did he do that? He dipped in.
As soon as the fit stuff all started coming out.
Yeah, he dipped in like early July.
Yeah.
This news would have been like the leagues would have been talking at that point. Possibly. No matter what, he had a safe spot, so maybe he was dipping his toes in. He still has the USFL this next year at the very least. He might try and vie in for a college spot.
Yeah, something.
If I'm a college, I don't know if I go after Skip Holtz.
I mean, I really don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe he was hoping going to Northwestern would lead him to the head coaching job. But with how good that guy did, obviously it didn't.
Oh, yeah. Shout out Column64 on YouTube. I really hope we get a big launch video tomorrow for the new league. People, apparently, Eric, there's been some rumblings that the 21st they're going to do an announcement. Don't hold your breath because we've heard stuff like this before. But people are saying on the 21st, big announcement. So
when is it the Rocks just announcing a new athletic gear line?
It'd be very funny. Also, to be fair, though, that would be our luck is we talk about the whole merger situation, and then they actually do
there's
like
a big breaking announcement tomorrow.
Just right after we're done talking about everything.
Like literally like at 9:45 Central or 10 p.m. Central, they break it right when we sound off.
So, Eric, besides the Maulers, who are your team, what team are you most disappointed that isn't going to be participating in the UFL next year?
I kind of like the atmosphere. I have three. Obviously, my Maulers. I like the atmosphere at Seattle. I really like the atmosphere they had at the stadium. I think that's going to be missed. But you know what? Just watching my boy TV, Terrell Buckley, and just living and dying with him last year, I'm disappointed the Guardians are gone.
I am too. I really wanted to see him again for round 2.
Yeah, just.
Also, the last half of the season, they were a very entertaining team.
They played well the last half of the season. Obviously, there's a whole thing with like, what was it? Their quarterback giving away the playbook to opposing teams. That was
early on. That's fair.
Yeah, but I don't know. All these teams had little stories. We all got kind of used to all these teams and everything. You know, to see them not there, this is going to be different. You know, you have like the traditional ones, like the Generals, the Stars, the Maulers, not being there. That's going to suck. The trainer,
the first. Yeah, it's like not seeing a team like the Stars that have literally been a pioneer and like a foundational piece of the USFL. That sucks.
Oh, it really sucks. I mean,
it's the same thing with like the Seattle Sea Dragons. They've been like a big part of the XFL for the last couple iterations, and the Seattle fans deserve a team like that, and it sucks that they're not getting.
And I mean,
it
I
sucks
think
they get
it's
it taken
because
away.
it's so mid America, East Coast bias. The landing of the setting of the teams.
No,
I just
Eric,
don't think they wanted one team just in the middle of
it's
the
it's
West.
it's not even East Coast bias. There's 3 Texas teams.
Yeah. Well, stuff is cheaper in Texas, my friend.
It is. I get it for financial reasons. That's too much Texas for me.
A little too much Texas.
Little too much when almost half of your league is in one state.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
It's not even like East Coast either, because what is the furthest east team is
Michigan.
Memphis? Michigan, yeah, probably Michigan. They're kind of on an outlier. It's got to be Michigan
or Birmingham.
Oh yeah, one of those two. Like I wouldn't even call it like East Coast. DC. No, we're stupid. DC. Jesus.
Oh Jesus.
Jesus. We're so dumb. DC. Okay, Eric. So power rate the teams in this UFL. Let's start at the bottom. Who's number 8 out of the Panthers, Gamblers, Stallions, Showboats, Renegades, Battlehawks, Defenders, Brahmas?
Oh my God, who's number 8?
It's the Brahmas, right?
Oh, it's got to be the Brahmas. Yeah,
It's got to be the Brahmas.
yeah.
At number 7, I think I have to roll with the Gamblers or it's either the Gamblers or the Showboats.
Gamblers.
Number 6. Herb, hell no. I'm sorry, Herb. As much as I love the Brahmas and the city of San Antonio, like you guys had, they were. I'll give the Brahmas credit. They were a Kurt Benkert non-injury away from probably having a decent season. Who's number 6?
Michigan.
I was gonna go with the Panthers. And then at 5, I'm gonna go the Showboats.
Yep.
4.
I mean, 4. I'd probably go the Battlehawks. We don't know what's going on with their quarterback. Is AJ back or not?
Yeah, it's either Battlehawks or I get that they won last year, but it's either Battlehawks or Renegades for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can both agree the top 2 teams are going to be the Stallions and the Defenders.
Yeah, I think those are the top 2. I think you could do 1A, 1B. Probably favor the Stallions right now, just based on.
You got to favor the Stallions based on their 2-year run.
And like, I'm pretty sure they still have Jamar Smith.
Yeah.
So they still have a guy that won it 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd go Stallions, and then we'll put Defenders. Then we'll put Renegades, Battlehawks, Showboats, Panthers, Gamblers, Brahmas.
Yep, agree 100%.
The good thing for the XFL, at least, is like they got basically all the top teams and then the Brahmas.
I mean, when you look at quality of teams, I think
the XFL came out ahead.
Yeah.
Because when we thought USFL the last couple of years, the best teams were the Stallions, the Breakers, the Stars, the Generals the first year, and then the Maulers this last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was those other teams.
But I mean, like, I think when you look at the last 2 years of the USFL, it was like the Stallions significant drop.
God, the Stars were so close that first year. They were so close to doing it.
You know, and then the Stars, Maulers, Breakers, everybody else.
It was definitely a drop.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for the level of play. I'm excited to see who gets kind of like shuffled around and everything. But it does suck for like at least 400 some players that are not going to be having a job anymore.
I mean, that's what sucks the most for me. I mean,
that easily sucks the most. Like, I'll complain that, yeah, I wish there were more games for me to watch. Yeah, I wish obviously it was still the XFL and USFL. But the worst part of it is it kind of fucks over the players.
Yeah, which is brutal.
Erik, over under how many years until they add teams?
I don't think they're going to add teams, dude.
You don't think they're going to do it at all?
No, I think they're going to keep this small. Because now, don't take this the wrong way, because I know you get sensitive with this stuff.
I very much do.
Less teams, better product right now.
That's fair. That's fair. That's a fair. I mean, like we said earlier, you're kind of trimming the fat a little bit.
And if you really want people to come, like, tune in, if it's a good football game, people are going to tune in. Football plays no matter what. And if you can tune in and see a good football game between the Brahmas and the Panthers, and it's entertaining, and the play is a high level, is a college football level play, high level college football, between that college football level, NFL level, people are going to watch it. But
Different question
what you
then.
don't want to see is people that aren't that good out there playing one team boat racing another team, and just the skill level.
Different question then. Over under how many years until they find like franchise owners? Because that in their like statement, that seemed to be something they were really trying to push. I was going to give like 4 years.
There won't be franchise owners until the spreadsheets say there's a profit.
Probably.
And usually that's going to take, you're right, 4 or 5 years, probably 5 years to see a profit on the spreadsheet at the end of the year. So I'd say 5 years.
Will the UFL play a year 2? Yes or no?
I say yes, because the streaming networks need product to put on them.
I say yes, like assuredly for a year 2.
Yeah.
I need to obviously see more. I want to know what the announcement's going to be coming up. I'll have a better answer around like end of March when the league's about to start.
I really want it to succeed. I hope it does.
I'm rooting for it hard, dude. This is spring football's last stand.
The last hurrah to OK Corral. Yeah, you're right. Because if this doesn't hit, we're going to be down to the CFL, my friend.
Well, arena football.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I'm just going to get way more into arena football, baby.
You're going to go down that path?
Yeah, I don't really see a choice. You're not going to see an NBA gym. I'm just going to flat out I'm going to nip that in the bud.
You're not going to be doing NBA shows in playoff time with me and Gino, dude?
Nope. I'll be doing IFL. I'll go hardcore into the indoor football league.
Just going all in. Love it.
Oh, Erik, any other questions or thoughts on the merger situation right now?
I want to know. I think it would really help if. I mean, do they have a firm start date yet?
Yeah, I believe it was March 30th. Let me confirm that. I think when in their announcement, Danny Garcia said that it was March 30th. Let me see. Yep, March 30th.
On March 30th. What's going on March 30th? NCAA basketball, and right before MLB starts. Not bad. Not bad. You know what? That's a pretty good start time, if I had to say.
Yeah, you missed most of the tournament.
Yeah, it's at the back end of the tournament. It'll be Final Four weekend, but those games are during the night. You can have a full day Sunday. You can play some games leading into that. That's done properly. You can do it. I really think that if they want to do this right, like I said, they need to have little segments on, because it's going to be on what? ESPN and Fox Sports.
ESPN, Fox. So, hey, guess what? Get your favorite man, McAfee, on it, baby.
I hate McAfee, but if McAfee talks about it, he'll get a demographic to watch.
He might talk about it. I remember he thought he was, he obviously for like the first 2 weeks of the 2020 version, he was the sideline reporter of the XFL for some of the ESPN games. And then he just kind of stopped because I think he wanted more money.
But I mean, if I'm ESPN and I'm paying Pat whatever he's
oh yeah,
And I'm just saying, hey, look, you got to have this guy on for 5 minutes, blah, blah, blah. You got to have, or something. And then with Fox
Get
Sports
Anthony
1,
Becht on there for 5 minutes to talk about St. Louis Battlehawks.
you know what I mean? Just that, that is something that could be easily doable.
Get him on
Fox
him.
Sports 1,
Coward.
yeah, whatever. I just think that's something that's easily done. ESPN, obviously now they'll both be on ESPN packages with the whole Sports Center highlights, which is big. Maybe have Scott Van Pelt do a gambling segment with it. I'd like to see DFS have a bigger thing. I hated how they did their DFS segments. DFS was absolutely brutal.
Regular fantasy should also be a little bit bigger too.
Yeah, like maybe get some player props going on. I think there's a way to do this where if you get fantasy, get gambling going, I think it can really work out because people are degenerates, Jim. People like to gamble, and I really think that if they embrace that, that's something that could work. Get to know the players more. Get to try to feel that personal connection.
I will say this. I liked the documentary stuff that the XFL did this last year.
Yep.
The Player 54 stuff.
Get to know the players, get to know the coaches a little bit. Because as a fan, if you feel a connection with player A, player B, player C, whatever,
it's huge.
More tuned to tune in. I want up-to-date news. If a player's not playing, I want to know. If someone's hurt, I want to know. That stuff should be easy to find. Box scores, easy to find, stuff like that.
And then shout out for like the stuff that we can get for now on stuff like that. Shout out guys like XFL Analyst on Twitter, because he's basically doing, like, right now, Erik, from what he's done these past couple days, here's what his tweet says. Here's a list of every USFL player who were on teams that did not make the merger could possibly be claimed in the upcoming draft.
Oh, wow.
And he's going to do the same thing with the XFL. He's got every single player name that could potentially be picked up.
Wow.
Guys like him, shout out James Larson for kind of like organizing a bunch of these stories. I love the guys over at Pro Football Newsroom. They kind of help me like gather my thoughts on talking about all this crap.
I like what Larson's doing, where he's like, to any USFL players who are on teams that didn't make the merger, DM me, post your game film as much as possible for this draft, which is pretty cool. I like that.
It's a sick move. Any final parting thoughts?
No. I think we covered it all. I really liked. I'm looking forward to this, but I am a little concerned with how it could turn out.
If we actually do get an announcement on the 21st, obviously I'll instant react to that all over the place and probably cream my pants. As it stands right now, I am hype for the UFL, but I am also disappointed. Let's go Defenders, baby. I might become. I mean, I'm rooting for all the XFL teams. I'll tell you that much.
And really, not the Michigan Panthers, dude?
I like the Panthers. Don't get me wrong, Erik. I'm XFL like to my bones.
To your bone.
To my bones.
To my bones.
All right, folks. That'll do it for this episode of Spring Fever. Head on over to Royal Retros. Go get yourself something good. Get yourself some Mahler's gear. Or some Stars gear.
I need it, dude. Like, Jesus.
It hurts not to see him anymore, but we'll see you guys next week for another episode.
I'm taking additions to be my new favorite team.
Ooh. Well, if you like bad, you should be a Brahmas guy then.
You know what? I kind of feel like I need to be the Michigan guy just because that's where I was born and everything.
So I was gonna say, Erik, you could be Michigan Panthers, or I feel like you wouldn't mind being like, no, the DC's too like showy with it.
Yeah.
I would say you're either gonna be a Michigan Panthers fan, or do you like Big Game Bob? Would you be a Renegades guy?
No, I'm not a Big Game Bob type of guy.
Okay. It's probably Panthers or bust then for you.
Yeah, I'll probably be a Panthers boy.
All right, folks. We'll see you next week for another episode of Spring Fever.